has the new offensive line adjusted to taking on a bigger role?
Yeah, I think the new guys on the offensive line have practiced hard all week. We've had 2 really spirited practices and full pads to get that work done, and they needed that, and they've stepped up. And just as important is the next group, like the next group of guys, and really excited. Like, again, I don't want anyone to get hurt, but as I said to the team, thank goodness last week Justin was prepared, and Henry was prepared, and Malcolm was prepared. So hey, Tyler Canuck, you need to be prepared, and Jacob Hood, you need to be prepared, and Gunner and Sam and all those guys, Joey Mancino, all those guys are prepared. So good week. Excited for them to go compete against a great defense.
How often do you coach the scout team defense yourself?
Yeah, I've done it pretty much my whole career. I like to have those connections with those guys. There's been some years where I do 1 day defense, 1 day offense. I just think it helps me really identify young players, and I'll sit there and be like, why is Kane over here? Get him up with the defense. Why is James over here? Why is Sua? Why is Vincent? If left to their own devices, offensive coaches will make the guys just run cards and stand here and get blocked, and they won't become good players. So I go over there and say, don't listen to them. Go do this and go do that. So on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at least. So I enjoy it. It's a way for me to, I used to be a pretty good football coach before I was the head coach, and so it's a way for me to go do some football.
Have you always kind of had that practice of being willing to call up guys in season or position change in season, or maybe where did that come from?
Yeah, I think when you go to a place like Temple and you don't have all 5-star recruits, you better figure out what you have, man. I look at my dad was a high school teacher and coach as well as a minister. My uncle was in the Pennsylvania High School Coaches Hall of Fame. When you're a high school coach, I think they're the greatest coaches that there are. Them and youth coaches, you take what you have, you figure out how to win with it. You see who's walking up and down the halls and try to get them out for football. And so that's what, my first year at Baylor, Ish Wainwright, who was the starting power forward, came out and played tight end for us, caught 2 touchdowns for us, went and played in Europe. Now he's playing in the NBA. We're going to do everything. When you kind of go to the NFL, you think it's different. It's not. Like someone gets hurt, you bring a guy in on a Wednesday and you got to teach them, hey, we need you to play. And Christian went to the 49ers on Thursday and played on Sunday. So it's a very adapting mindset. We got guys like Jeremiah Charles. Hey, I need you to know receiver and corner. Jay Fleeks, I need you to know receiver and running back. So wait for guys to get on the field.
Is that kind of how it felt with James last week, like bringing a guy in at the last minute and saying, okay, now you need to be ready for the weekend? And has he been able to learn a little more?
James Williams?
Yeah.
Yeah, really, I think his is a little different. I think his, honestly, Mitch, is like he has terrorized us on that trade team. He's got a really nice pass rush, and you could bring him up full time and have him play 5-6 plays a game, maybe earlier in the year. And I think he said it, which I would, he struggled with some of the things we ask of the guys in terms of, I think he said I run a tight ship, asking him to be on time and go to class and all those things. I think that he struggled a little bit with that, just the adjustment, but he's really hit his stride. I'm really proud of him. And so for me, James, he's just earned his way into these reps, and so we have other guys who can, do the other jobs. It wasn't like he came up because there was an emergency or there was some injuries. Again, we played Sua in 2 games. Like, I want those guys to be available when needed. James, I don't know if this will be a game for him again. It might be because of Purdue's dynamic passing game. But he, if we were facing, a 2-back run game, I don't think James would have a super role. So I just think he just fit a need, and the coaches did a great job. Tony did a great job of finding a role for him.
You mentioned Jeremiah Charles with Ian Bryce Turner moving to cornerback. Have they been working more on receiver with the injury situation?
Yeah, they can do both. They're still practicing at corner. Bryce will do both. Bryce will practice at corner and at receiver. We have Fleeks who can do multiple things. So we have some guys kind of doing both. But Jeremiah's meeting both positions right now, just as sort of an emergency guy. And then we have guys that are really good players that are just waiting their turn. We have Baron Miles, we have Tavion Thompson, we have Roman Mangini. We have guys that people haven't really seen yet, but can go out there and get the job done. Elliott Brown. So it's a mix of all those guys.
I know you always challenge your special teams to give you an edge, but as you've gone through this league and you watch this league, how good do you have to be there at, taking advantage of pinning a team deep and when you have those moments and all that stuff?
Yeah, I think, especially in games like this week where the weather could be a factor. I mean, you want to play great on the special teams. Purdue has dynamic kickoff and punt return games. They blocked a field goal against Iowa in the crucial times. They're excellent on special teams. We've made some good plays on special teams, putting the ball down. Tommy with the kickoff return last week. But we're also missing some opportunities. We had a punt blocked last week. We missed it. So we're just going to continue to try to get better at it. But yeah, I think in the Big Ten, it is kind of a field position league. Just getting used to it. There's a lot of rugby punters in this league, so a lot more rugby punters than not. So just going through this full cycle, seeing everybody. We're not a rugby team, so sometimes it's hard for us to game plan the opponent. So I just think Ed's done a nice job of kind of building that book of business. And you think about it, the injuries you have, like just take Tommy Hill. Tommy Hill gets hurt, so someone steps up, which means now there's a ripple effect down onto the special teams. And so that's why, we spend a lot of time on it. We practice the 2s and we practice the 3s so that when guys have to step up and be ready, like Ramir Stewart went in and played last week on special teams. Guys fill in the void as we have injuries. But I think special teams are vital. They'll be really vital this week. We're down our starting kick returner. We're down our starting punt returner. Those are big things. So the other guys have to step up.
Who is going to work there, do you know?
Alex Bullock will return the punts, and Josh Fleeks, and those guys will be the kick returners.
With Alex Bullock, we always ask you about the freshman receivers, but he's new to being a starting receiver this year, and I think he's logged about as many snaps as most anybody on offense. How have you seen him, develop into his role? Yeah,
Alex is an excellent player. Alex has figured out along the way that he's an excellent player. Alex can do it all. Alex has great long speed. Sometimes people might not realize how fast he is. He's a fast player. He's got great ball skills. He's competitive. I think I haven't done a good enough job talking about Ty Hahn and the things that he can do. Like Ty Hahn single-handedly affected the game last week with a couple blocks that sprung some runs that we needed. He can make catches in the passing game. He's fast. He's explosive. He plays really well on special teams. So as I've talked a lot about young players, I probably haven't done a good enough job of talking about those guys, but they're excellent players, and we need them to play well for us.
Can you speak to the development of Evans Jenkins in particular since you've been here, and then maybe the challenge, I guess, of being guard, center, and kind of having to do both of those things there?
Yeah, I think Justin is a smart football player, and he's really tough. He's explosive. There was a time where I said, at first, we were kind of, hey, what's our D-line depth going to look like? I thought about maybe, hey, can he play nose too? I was kind of one of those guys I was looking at both ways because he is so athletic and explosive. But he's just kind of an old school tough guy. Whatever you ask him to do, he's the shield on the punt team. He's the jumbo tight end. Got in versus on the bye week because Piper was down with an ankle, and so he got in on the bye week and really did a nice job at guard. And so I just think he's a tough guy that knows what to do. That switch from going to guard to center, that's difficult, right? You got to kind of get some snaps, and especially this week when you have a zero nose on you. So. Obviously Ben got dinged up in the last game. He's good to go, but Justin has to be ready in case his number is called to step in at guard at any moment. So he puts a lot of time in. The good thing about playing guard is you really have to understand the whole picture, so that can really help you, at center, so that can really help you at guard when you slide over.
This being kind of a younger team, how important is that process, kind of similar to East West, learning how to win when you're not at your best, kind of similar to Northwestern?
I thought the defense was at their best, so I'm always very careful of saying those superlatives, right? You paint pictures, right? To me, the thing that I want them to understand, because, we played dominant in some areas on defense, but we gave up 130 yards rushing. That's unacceptable. We didn't have a fourth quarter shutout. That's unacceptable. We didn't win the turnover battle. It's unacceptable. So it's I don't try to think good and bad. I think about hey, what was up to our standard? What was not? And even on offense, it's oh, the offense kept putting the ball. It wasn't good enough. There were 4 plays like that. There was a lot of other plays that were good plays, and so I've got to get rid of those 4 plays. But I also want to build off of the run Emma Johnson made or the catch Malachi made. So the danger, and it goes back to Bill Parcells used to talk about the psychology of results, and there's really 4 things to it. But one of them is when you don't play at the level you want to play at, when you don't play well and win, sometimes you start to think, hey, well, I can win. And that's why you hear me say I don't care about the score all the time. Obviously, I want to win, but I care about how we play. There's a standard, right? Ron tells a story about Nebraska beating UCLA and him being happy in the locker room and all the veteran coaches on this staff being irate because they had 5 turnovers and they just didn't play to the standard, even though they beat number 2 UCLA. That's obviously a high-end example of that. But I want all the players to understand that, when we win the game, we feel happy, right? It's an emotional feeling, but we just come in very methodically. Like, what did we do well? What did we not do well? We don't listen to, oh, we stink. But we also don't listen to, oh, we're great. We just stay like right here, And so, I mean, I'm not helping it by letting them put out that TV show every week, right? That's not really my type of deal to do. You'll never see me do it again probably after this year. But, we're trying to let recruits and people see inside the program and all that. But it's just got to be like very like just day by day, just 1% better. But if you're not careful, when you don't play well and you win the game or you don't play up to your standard, you'll start feeling like you have a right to do that, and it's deadly. So we're fighting that, and I'm proud of the players because they're the first ones to say it's not good enough. No fourth quarter shutouts. We've only done it once this year. We're -8 and we're 4-3. That's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. And you know what? You say, oh, this first week we were -6 at the first. That means we're -2 in the last. So like we got to get it corrected, and that's both sides. Like take the ball away. We won the turnover battle in one game, La Tech. We tied it in Northern Illinois. Like fourth quarter shutout, we scored 52 points in the fourth quarter. We've given up 51. So there's a lot of room for improvement.
What are the biggest challenges, just as a whole, that Purdue's going to pose to you come Saturday?
Well, I'd say Burke's card, the run game. I mean, they're I think they're ranked right now the 6th best offense, right? They're the 4th best passing offense. Like they can score points and they're explosive. And listening to coach, it sounds like they're healthy. Like I wouldn't have known that they weren't healthy, but those types of teams have kind of bothered us at times, right? That spread tempo, run this way, double slant backside, throw the ball up. Those things have La Tech, move the ball against us, and so they move the ball against a lot of people. We beat Illinois, we were excited, right? They beat them 44-19. So that offense is scary. The return game, the returners are scary. They have 3 back now, so he's obviously going to be in the mix. So they have dynamic players in those areas. And on defense, Coach Walters, I mean, they're going to get off the bus and they're going to play man and they're going to pressure us and they're going to blitz us. And, we're going to have to make some plays and pick those things up with a new group on the offensive line. So it's an even matchup. This is a great game. This should be a great game. It should be a great game right down the wire. And we'll just try to play our best to get to the fourth quarter, try to make one more play than the opponent and hope that we win the game.
You make them clear that stuff through you that they put on the TV show?
Yeah, it's kind of fun. That like my man Jay Litt. So we have C.J. Campbell, Warren, Jordan Litton. They're awesome, right? They're awesome. So I told them like, hey, run with it, but like show it to me. So okay, there's something I don't want on there. Like they had some things like they had the Sunday practice. And they had a lot of things on that Sunday practice before Illinois. And I said, hey, let's put that out in the off season. What I don't want is the guys feeling like, hey, they do something on Saturday and the next week it's on TV, and so then you start getting cautious of that. So, but yeah, they're the creatives. I mean, they're awesome. They really they understand the ethos of the program. They understand what we're trying to get done, and I trust them. I trust them completely. So, literally, like I jumped up on that that surfing thing last week, and as I was saying, get down, put me down, please, because I didn't trust myself to land on my feet. I was like, well, Jay Litt's going to send me that video here in a few minutes. So they are a great balance for me, who's kind of old school, and they're kind of like, hey, coach, let's do this. This will be fun. Mike Wallace does a really, really tremendous job for me, and they come to me with all kinds of ideas. And what I'll tell you, Mitch, is they do the same things internally. The highlight film we have every Saturday right before we get on the buses is awesome. We send like highlight films out on Thursdays and Fridays, like the old days of standing in a team meeting, showing plays. What I've learned is if I just send them a video, they'll probably watch that 10 times, and they'll probably listen to me while they're thinking about what do we have next. So I try to do some different things with them. But, yeah, it's been fun. I normally like I said, I wouldn't do those things, but when my family was in Carolina, they were always looking for, like, when's the next video coming out, because they wanted to be a part of the program. So I started thinking about all the Husker fans and all the recruits and all the families, and I'm so proud of our team with the way we work and the way we do things. I want them to see the fire that we are under each week. Because for me, this is all about process. I just told the team we have 29 days left in the season. Like, what can't we do for 29 days at a high level? 29 days, that's it. Like we could do anything for 29 days. And so I just want them each day to try to get a little bit better for 29 days and see if we can't earn ourselves, a chance to play another ball game or so. So I don't know if that kind of went on this spiral there. I'm sorry, but I'm really grateful for the people that work in the football facility. Anybody else? All right, thanks.